The day everything collapsed began with a knock on my door. Slow, deliberate, and heavy enough to make my heart drop before I even opened it. I wasn't expecting anyone. My 4-year-old son, Liam, was drawing dinosaurs on the living room floor, humming softly to himself. The knock came again, harder this time, and something in my gut twisted. When I opened the door, 2 people were standing on my porch, a woman with a rigid smile holding a clipboard, and a man wearing a badge clipped to his belt. Both were from Child Protective Services. My blood ran cold. "Are you Maya Carter?" the woman asked, her tone rehearsed and emotionless. "Yes," I managed, my voice barely steady. "We received a report concerning the welfare of your child. We need to ask you a few questions." For a second, I couldn't breathe. I felt as if someone had punched the air out of my lungs. "A report? About my child? What are you talking about?" They stepped in without waiting for permission. Liam looked up from the floor, wide-eyed, clutching a green crayon. The woman bent down to him gently. "Hi there, sweetie. We're just here to check on you." He blinked, confused. "Why?" "Because someone told us you might not be safe at home." My heart cracked open. I crouched down beside him, pulling him close. "You're safe, baby. You're always safe." But I wasn't saying it for him. I was saying it for myself because in that moment I realized exactly who had done this. My sister. My own sister. Vanessa. The girl I grew up sharing clothes with, the girl who used to braid my hair, the girl who cried at my wedding. The same girl who'd been acting strange ever since I divorced my ex-husband and received full custody of Liam. For months, she dropped subtle comments pretending to be concerned. "You look tired, Maya. Are you sure you're coping? It must be hard raising a child alone. You should let him stay with me more often, just in case." I thought she was trying to help. But now it was clear she'd been building a narrative, preparing a lie, setting a trap. The CPS workers inspected everything: the kitchen, the bedrooms, the bathroom, the fridge, the medicine cabinet. They took notes, whispered to each other, asked questions with hidden meanings. "Does Liam ever go hungry? Do you leave him alone at home for long periods? Has he ever seen you use substances? Does he witness arguments?" Every question was a slap to my face. "No. Never. Who told you this? Who said these things?" The woman lifted her clipboard. The report was anonymous. But I already knew. It was Vanessa. It had her fingerprints all over it, her style of twisting concern into accusation, pretending she was saving someone while quietly orchestrating their downfall. The worst part? They found nothing wrong. My home was spotless, my son was healthy and cheerful, and there wasn't a single sign of neglect. But that didn't comfort me, because the woman looked at me with a sympathetic smile and said, "You may be cleared today, but this case will remain open. We'll be monitoring for the next few months." Months. My sister had just declared war on my motherhood, and she did it with a smile. That night, after Liam fell asleep, I sat on the couch shaking, rage, fear, and betrayal merging into something poisonous. I picked up my phone. She had texted me 2 hours earlier. "Hope you're okay. Heard there was some trouble. Call me if you need anything." My hands trembled. I didn't call her. I didn't reply. But I made a promise that night. I would find out why she did this. I would uncover every lie. And I would not let her take my son. Not while I was alive. The next morning began with the kind of silence that feels dangerous. Liam was still asleep, curled up with his stuffed dinosaur, unaware that his world had shifted overnight. I moved quietly around the kitchen, making coffee with trembling hands, replaying every moment with Child Protective Services like a nightmare on loop. I kept asking myself the same question. Why would my own sister do this? By the time Liam wandered into the kitchen rubbing his eyes, I forced myself to smile and pretend everything was normal. I made him pancakes shaped like stars, his favorite, because after last night's invasion, I needed to see him happy. To remind myself that I wasn't the monster Vanessa had painted me to be. But the illusion didn't last long. Around 10 a.m., my phone buzzed with a notification. A message from Vanessa. "Can I stop by? I want to check on you and Liam." My stomach twisted. The audacity. She wanted to play the caring sister now. The woman who had just tried to hand my child over to strangers? I didn't respond. Minutes later, another message. I heard CPS came. That must have been horrible. I'm so sorry. My blood boiled.
Saw thee?
She caused it. I put the phone face down on the table and tried to focus on Liam, who was now building a tower of toy blocks. But my mind refused to quiet down. If I didn't talk to her, she would twist that into something sinister too. So I did the thing I was dreading. I opened the door when she arrived. Vanessa stood there dressed flawlessly as always, long black hair straightened, makeup done like she was about to film a commercial. She stepped inside without waiting, her eyes scanning the house just like the CPS workers had. So, she began softly. How are you holding up? I stared at her, expression empty. You know exactly how I'm holding up. She blinked innocently. What do you mean? The performance was unbelievable. The tilted head, the gentle tone, the concerned sister mask. You called them, I said. Her smile didn't even falter. Called who? Vanessa, stop. My voice cracked with anger. You reported me. For a moment, just a moment, the mask slipped. A subtle tightening around her mouth. A flicker in her eyes. Then she laughed. That's ridiculous, Maya. I stepped closer. Really? They asked about food, supervision, arguments, substance use. Word for word the things you've been hinting at for months. She shrugged as if discussing the weather. Maybe someone else noticed something. You don't even hide it well. She crossed her arms. Look, if CPS came, maybe it's a sign. Maybe you're overwhelmed. You work so much. Liam spends so much time alone. Maybe this is what's best for him. My chest tightened painfully. He's never alone. Ever. Still, she said with a gentle smile. A child needs stability. A full household. A mother who doesn't break down all the time. That sentence hit like a slap. She was going for weakness. For insecurity. For fear. I'm not unstable, I said quietly. Then you have nothing to worry about, she replied with a shrug. CPS will figure it out. And there it was. The real threat behind her words. She believed she could win this. She believed she could take my child. When she left, she paused at the door and gave me a soft smile. I love you, Maya. I'm just trying to help. Then she walked away. The moment the door closed, I slid onto the floor, shaking with anger and disbelief. This wasn't help. This was the first strike. And my sister wasn't done. Over the next week, I tried to rebuild a sense of routine for Liam, breakfast together, morning cartoons, evening walks. But beneath the surface, I was drowning. Every unexpected knock on the door made my chest tighten. Every unknown number calling my phone sent a chill down my spine. CPS hadn't returned yet, but the case was still open, and that was enough to make every day feel like walking under a loaded trap. And Vanessa? She acted like nothing had happened. She sent cheerful texts. Miss you too. Let's have dinner soon. Liam should come for a sleepover. I ignored them all. But ignoring her wasn't stopping her, it was provoking her. On Thursday afternoon, I got a call from Liam's preschool. His teacher, Mrs. Harris, spoke in a voice so careful it almost sounded rehearsed. Maya, I don't want to alarm you, but I need to ask something. My heart dropped. What is it? There have been some concerns raised. I gripped the steering wheel, knuckles white. Concerns about what? Liam has mentioned that you cry a lot at home, that you're sad, that you get tired. The breath left my lungs. Maya, I'm not accusing you of anything, she continued quickly. Children exaggerate. But the report we received said. Report. I interrupted. You received a report too? A heavy pause. Yes. Someone anonymously expressed worry about Liam's home environment. My vision blurred. Vanessa had escalated. Beyond CPS. Beyond private whispers. Now she was spreading lies directly to institutions connected to my child. I took a long breath to keep my voice from shaking. Mrs. Harris, I assure you Liam is safe and well. I cry sometimes because I'm human, not unstable. I understand, the teacher said gently. But I'm required to document this. Of course she was. I hung up the phone and sat in my car for a full minute, staring at nothing. Anger and fear crawled under my skin like fire. She was building a case, creating patterns, crafting a story where I was the villain and she was the savior. The next blow came 2 days later. I was grocery shopping when a woman I barely knew from the neighborhood approached me with a sympathetic look. "I heard you're struggling," she said softly. "If you ever need help, I can take Liam for a few hours." I froze.
Who told you that?
She hesitated. "Your sister." Of course. Of course it was. Vanessa wasn't even trying to be subtle anymore. She was planting seeds everywhere, letting her lies take root in the minds of anyone who would listen. By the time I got home, my hands were shaking. I locked the front door, closed the blinds, and sat at the kitchen table trying to steady my breathing. Liam came in holding a drawing he made, stick figures of me and him, smiling under a big yellow sun. He placed it on the table proudly. "Look, Mommy. Us." I couldn't hold back the tears. He hugged me fiercely, tiny arms around my neck. "You okay?" "I'm okay," I whispered, though it was a lie. Because I could feel it now, what Vanessa wanted. She wasn't just trying to hurt me. She wasn't trying to get attention. She wasn't trying to help. She was trying to replace me. She wanted to be the mother. And she believed she deserved my child more than I did. From that moment, I knew I couldn't wait for the next attack. I had to fight back. And I had to do it before she pushed her lies far enough to destroy everything. By the time the second CPS visit came, I wasn't even surprised. I heard the knock, 3 sharp, official taps, and something inside me went cold. Liam was playing with his toy cars on the living room carpet. I stood up slowly, bracing myself, my pulse pounding in my ears. When I opened the door, I recognized the same woman from before, clipboard in hand, polite smile fixed onto her face like a sticker. "Hello again, Maya," she said. "We're here for a follow-up inspection." I forced a breath. Of course. They walked in, and Liam looked up a little more anxious this time. He had grown aware of these unfamiliar adults who appeared suddenly and scrutinized everything. The woman crouched down. "Hi, Liam. Can you tell me what you're doing today?" "I'm racing my cars," he answered softly. She smiled. "That sounds fun." It should have been a normal moment. But instead, it felt like an interrogation disguised as kindness. The man with her began examining the kitchen. He opened cabinets, checked expiration dates, inspected the stove. The woman walked into my bedroom, scanning every detail with clinical precision. I stood there frozen, feeling like a criminal in my own home. "What exactly brought you back?" I finally asked. The woman flipped through her papers. "We received additional concerns from someone close to the family. Allegations of emotional instability, excessive crying in front of the child, leaving the child unsupervised, and behavioral outbursts." Each lie hit like a blow. Unstable, neglectful, unfit. All weaponized words to make a mother look dangerous. "I don't know who keeps telling you these things," I said tightly. "We can't reveal the source," she replied. But her tone softened. She knew I knew. As soon as they left, I sank onto the floor, exhausted. Liam crawled into my lap. "Mommy, are they bad guys?" "No," I whispered, stroking his hair. "They're just confused." But I knew the truth. The person confusing them was my own sister. That night, something inside me snapped. I drove to Vanessa's house after putting Liam to bed with my neighbor. I didn't text. I didn't warn her. I couldn't. This wasn't a conversation anymore. It was a confrontation years overdue. She opened the door in silk pajamas, holding a glass of wine, acting startled. "Maya? What are you doing here?" "You know why I'm here." She sighed like I was being unreasonable. "If this is about CPS again, I already told you." "Stop lying." I cut in, voice low and shaking. "Stop pretending you're helping me. You're trying to take my son." Her expression flickered, only for a second. But it was enough. A crack. A confession in silence. Then she smiled sweetly. "Maya, maybe you're just overwhelmed. It's okay to admit when you're not coping." The gaslighting was suffocating. "You need to stop," I said. "This ends now." She took a slow sip of wine. "Or what? You'll tell people I'm lying? You don't have proof." Meanwhile, I have people worried about Liam's safety. I have teachers listening to me. I have a record of your emotional episodes. She was proud of it, proud of the damage she'd caused. "I'm his mother," I whispered. Her smile widened. "For now." The room spun. That was the moment I understood something chilling. Vanessa didn't just want Liam. She believed she could win him. And if I didn't act soon, she might. I walked out of her house shaking, heart pounding with a new, terrifying clarity. This wasn't sister drama. This was a custody war. And my sister had declared herself the enemy. I barely slept that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Vanessa smile, that smug, poisonous expression that said she believed she had already won. By morning, I wasn't just afraid. I was furious. And under that fury, something else had formed. Resolve. If Vanessa wanted a war, she was going to get one. But I wasn't fighting dirty like her. I was fighting with truth. The first thing I did after dropping Liam off at preschool was drive to a family attorney. Not just any attorney, someone who specialized in custody cases. The receptionist looked up as I entered, my face pale from exhaustion. "Is this an emergency matter?" she asked. "Yes," I said. "It is." Within minutes, I was sitting across from a woman named Karen Pierce, a sharp-eyed attorney with silver hair and the kind of calm confidence that made people like Vanessa look small. "Tell me everything," she said. And I did. The CPS visits. The lies. The calls to Liam's school. The rumors spreading through the neighborhood. The confrontation where Vanessa all but admitted she was trying to take my child. Karen listened without interrupting, taking notes quickly. When I finished, my hands were shaking. She leaned back in her chair. "Your sister is attempting what we call a covert custody takeover. She's building a case by weaponizing institutions against you. It's rare, but not unheard of." "So what do I do?" I whispered. "You document everything," she said firmly. "Every message, every visit, every conversation. You gather witnesses, neighbors, teachers, friends who know you and Liam. And you never confront her alone again." "I confronted her last night," I admitted. Karen raised a brow. "Did she deny it?" "Not exactly." "That's good." She tapped her pen. "We can use her slip-ups. The key is to show she has malicious intent. Meanwhile, you need to protect your image. Stable routines, positive school interactions, and absolutely no emotional outbursts in front of professionals." It hit me then that the truth wasn't enough. I needed strategy. Proof. Control. Calm. For the first time in weeks, I felt a small flicker of hope. When I picked up Liam from school that afternoon, Mrs. Harris pulled me aside. "I wanted to let you know," she said softly, "that Liam has been very cheerful today. He talked about how you made pancakes with him. It was sweet." I felt my eyes sting. "Thank you." Then she hesitated. "And I want you to know something else. Your sister came here. Twice." I froze. "What?" She said she was checking in. "She asked questions about you, how you behave, how Liam acts, your emotional state." I didn't give her anything, of course. It felt inappropriate. A tremor went through me. Vanessa had been going behind my back even more than I realized. "Thank you for telling me," I said quietly. I walked Liam to the car, holding his tiny hand tighter than usual. At home, I put him down for a nap, then pulled out my phone. I opened a new folder and labeled it Evidence, Vanessa's Lies. I screenshot her texts. I wrote down every CPS visit. I added notes from the school. I even wrote a detailed summary of the confrontation at her house. Piece by piece, I began building the truth she had tried so hard to bury. But Vanessa wasn't done. At 7 p.m., just after dinner, my phone buzzed. "Vanessa, you looked upset yesterday. If you need me to take Liam for a few nights, I can. You know, until things settle down." A chill crawled through my veins. She wasn't offering help. She was positioning herself as the safer parent. I took a screenshot, saved it, Then I turned off my phone and sat beside Liam as he slept, his small chest rising and falling peacefully. For the first time, I wasn't just terrified. I was ready. Vanessa had pushed me into a corner, but she had also forced me to stand up. She wanted a custody battle. I was going to show her what it looked like to fight a mother for her child. And I wasn't going to lose. The next morning, I woke with a strange clarity, like a fog had finally lifted. Fear was still there, but it no longer ruled me. Vanessa had underestimated something far more powerful than her lies, a mother protecting her child. I dropped Liam at preschool and then headed straight to the county offices. If Vanessa wanted to manipulate the system, then I would use the system the right way. My first stop was the CPS main desk. The woman behind the counter looked up. "How can I help you?" "My name is Emily Carter," I said. "I need copies of all reports filed regarding my household in the last month. There were 2 visits." She clicked through her computer, then frowned. "I'm only seeing 1 formal complaint," she said. The other was noted as an anonymous call with no follow-up. "Of course. May I have a copy of the written report?" I asked. She printed several pages and handed them to me. I stepped aside and scanned the document quickly. The complaint claimed neglect, but the CPS worker's note said, "Home clean, child well cared for, no cause for concern." I exhaled. That piece alone was a shield. From there, I drove to Liam's preschool. Mrs. Harris welcomed me into her classroom with a sympathetic smile. "I need to ask for a written statement," I said. "Not about Liam, about the visits from my sister." She didn't hesitate. "Of course. I'll write an incident report documenting what she asked and that I did not give her information." My hands shook with relief. "Thank you. Truly." Before I left, she placed a gentle hand on my arm. "You are a good mother. Anyone can see that." Her words steadied something deep inside me. By afternoon, I had a small stack of papers in my folder: CPS reports, school notifications, timeline notes. Evidence was slowly replacing panic. But around 3 p.m., I received another blow. Karen, my attorney, called. "There's been another filing," she said. "Your sister submitted a request for emergency temporary custody." I felt the blood drain from my face. "On what grounds?" "She's claiming you're mentally unstable and unfit to parent." My knees almost buckled. "What?" "On what evidence?" "None that will hold in court," she said calmly. "But emergency petitions are taken seriously. We'll respond immediately, but you need to be prepared." She scheduled an urgent meeting for the next morning. After hanging up, I sat in my living room, my hands trembling. Liam was building a block tower on the rug, humming softly to himself, oblivious to the war happening around him. I watched him, feeling a burn in my chest. Vanessa was trying to take this. His innocence. His routines. His world. And for what? Jealousy? Control? Revenge for a childhood neither of us could fix? No. I wasn't letting her rewrite our lives. Later that evening, as I sorted more documents, my phone buzzed again. This time, it was a message from an unknown number. "You need to think about what's best for Liam. Sometimes children are better off with someone more stable." My throat tightened. This was Vanessa's tone. Her venom. But she was hiding behind a burner number now. I saved the message. Another piece of proof. Then I did something that surprised even me. I called my mother. She answered cautiously, like she expected a fight. But when she heard my voice shaking, she softened. "Mom, Vanessa is trying to take Liam from me." Silence. Then a horrified gasp. I told her everything: the lies, CPS, the school, the emergency petition. My mom began to cry. "I never thought she would go this far," she whispered. "Tell me what you need. Anything." For the first time, I didn't feel alone. That night, I placed the evidence folder on my kitchen table and looked at it like a weapon I never wanted to wield, but now had to. Tomorrow, the real battle would begin. And Vanessa had no idea how prepared I was becoming. The morning of the final custody hearing felt unreal, like walking into the last chapter of a nightmare I never asked to be part of. Every step toward the courthouse echoed with months of fear, betrayal, and uncertainty. But today, for the first time, I wasn't trembling. I was done being afraid of my sister. I was done letting her lies shape my life. Today, I would speak the truth, with evidence that shattered every thread of the story she had woven. I entered the courtroom, holding my lawyer's file in one hand and my son's drawing in the other. A picture of the two of us at the park. He had written at the bottom, "Mommy is my favorite place." That simple line had carried me through nights when I felt one signature away from losing him. My sister, Clara, was already seated at the table opposite mine. Her face was unnervingly calm, completely devoid of the guilt she should have felt. She gave me a brief, emotionless glance before looking away, as if I were an inconvenience instead of the woman whose life she had tried to dismantle. The judge entered. Everyone rose. Then the hearing began. Clara's attorney went first, repeating the same fabricated narrative they had clung to since the beginning, that I was unstable, irresponsible, emotionally unfit, that my son was unsafe with me. But this time, their confidence looked forced. They spoke faster. Their arguments were thinner. They knew what was coming. My lawyer stood. "Your Honor, the petitioner's claims have been proven not only exaggerated, but deliberately falsified. We have documented evidence of tampered photos, manipulated timestamps, and fabricated witness statements." A murmur rippled through the courtroom. Clara stiffened. My lawyer continued, placing a stack of documents on the judge's bench. "We also have testimony from individuals the petitioner contacted, attempting to bribe or coerce them into providing false statements, including a neighbor, a co-worker of the respondent, and even the child's former babysitter." The judge's eyes hardened. "Ms. Clara Bennett, do you have any explanation for this?" Clara opened her mouth, but no words came, just a strained, panicked breath. And then, to everyone's shock, including mine, she began to cry. Not the soft, guilty cry of someone who regrets what they've done, but the frantic, frustrated cry of someone who realizes they've been caught. "I just wanted what was best for him," she choked out. The judge's voice cut sharply. "By committing fraud? By lying under oath? By attempting to destroy a mother's relationship with her child?" Clara sobbed harder, but everyone knew the truth now. Her intentions had never been noble. They were rooted in obsession, jealousy, and a need for control she could no longer hide. After a brief recess, the judge delivered the ruling. Custody remains with the respondent. All allegations are dismissed. The petitioner is barred from further filings without court approval. Additionally, the court will be opening an investigation into the petitioner's actions. Relief flooded through me so powerfully I had to grip the table to stay standing. When the hearing ended, Clara wouldn't look at me. Not once. She left the courtroom surrounded by silence, her lies finally stripped away. I walked out holding my son's drawing close to my chest. This time, the air didn't feel heavy. This time, the future didn't feel uncertain. My sister had tried to take everything from me, but truth won. My son stayed with me, and I finally understood something powerful. Family is not defined by blood, but by the people who choose honesty, loyalty, and love over jealousy and lies.